Hi, I'm Anne Pollard, and this is the reading of my book, Cleo's Fabulous Adventures, The Realm of the Woods. Chapter 9, Gabriel the Gopher. Bacchus let Cleo just be there for a few minutes, but he didn't say a word. Inside, he was beaming for Cleo and what she had just been able to do, but this was her moment to save her, and so he let her do just that. After a few minutes, Bacchus turned and began walking by the edge of the stream, on to their next destination. Cleo stood and followed Bacchus. Was she standing just a little taller than before? They moved in silence for a while. The ground was moist and fertile under their feet and made a squishing sound as they walked. The grass became taller and it looked like a luxurious green carpet. There were daisies mixed in with the grass, and the colors were in sharp contrast to each other. The green of the grass offset by the bright white petals of the daisies with their yellow center. It was beautiful. As they continued forward, they started seeing mounds of dirt spread out over the ground. These mounds were not as large as the one they saw with Ariel and the ants, and there were more of them. They could hear a faint clicking sound. Then they heard a low whistle. Bacchus moved slowly over to one of the mounds closest to them and whistled back. How strange to see a panther whistle, thought Cleo. Then a little head popped out of the mound. It was so furry and cute. It wore a light shade of brown fur and had big black eyes. But the most amazing part of its face was the teeth. There were two long, protruding front teeth that were dirty and yellowish, and its nose was wiggling back and forth, clearly smelling who had come. Bacchus lay down on the ground so his eyes were at the same height as the creature emerging from the mound. He whistled again, and then said, "Hello, Gabriel." "And how is the life of my favorite gopher these days?" he asked. Gabriel was so excited to see Bacchus that she jumped out of the mound and landed right in front of him. "Bacchus," she cried with excitement, "I didn't expect you so soon. I would have been out and about to greet you." Her little body was small, if not a bit plump, and her legs were short. She stood up on her hind legs, her front legs hanging down to her belly. She had short claws that were colored black, and they stood out next to her brown fur. Her short little tail was whipping back and forth with all of the excitement. "Life is magnificent," Gabriel claimed. "I could not be happier to see you and Cleo. Hello, Cleo." "Hello, Gabriel," Cleo answered back. Gabriel continued, "Allow me to set the right mood." And then Gabriel closed her eyes. The sky began to change, and the sun drifted away and was replaced with a large, radiant moon. As it became darker, the entire mood did indeed change. Gabriel opened her eyes and said, "Ah, that's much better. I prefer the twilight, and I love the moon energy. I guess living underground most of the time makes me prefer the darkness," she laughed. "Wow, that was incredible," shouted Cleo. "I'm still amazed at the things that can happen in these woods." "Yes, I'm sure it can seem impossible," said Gabriel, "but really, nothing is impossible. Cleo, I'm so honored to be able to spend some time with you. I know you've already learned so much on your adventure, and I think we can learn a lot together too. Shall we start by talking about masculine and feminine?" Cleo blushed slightly and said, "I think I know the difference between masculine and feminine." Gabriel laughed. "Yes, I am most sure that you do. But I'm talking about energy, not sexes. You see, it's important to understand the harmony and balance in the universe. And one of the most important balances is masculine and feminine energy. For your spiritual bodies to be in balance, you need to have both of these energies. The masculine energy is important for logic, robustness, being direct and firm. The feminine energy is important for creativity, nurturing, fluidity, and refinement. These energies complement each other and help everyone be more balanced. You need all of these traits in your life, and you need to call upon them in different circumstances. I know that you know this all too well in your job. Don't you have to use different aspects of these energies depending on what's needed at the time? Oh, yes, of course, said Cleo. Sometimes I have to be very firm about things when I'm doing planning and forecasting, and then I may need to be more compassionate and creative if one of my coworkers needs some encouragement or support. Yes, that's exactly right, said Gabriel. And you can call on animal spirits to help you engage those energies. For example, lion spirit is a good representation of masculine energy. And of course, gopher spirit is a good representation of feminine energy. And how is that? Cleo asked. Because gophers have a strong connection to the earth and fertility. Oh, I see, said Cleo. And do you know what else gophers can do? Asked Gabriel. Oh, I'm sure there's a lot, Cleo quickly responded. Ha ha ha, laughed Gabriel. Yes, that's true. I could have been more to the point, which is exactly my point. Let me try and explain. Cleo, tell me about a time when you wanted to say something to someone or to a group, and you found yourself only telling part of your heart. You didn't say what you fully wanted to say. I don't think we have enough time for me to tell you all the times that has happened, Cleo laughed, but was beginning to see the seriousness of the question. What about this morning with your boss? Asked Gabriel. Oh, yes, that's true. Instead of explaining to her that the deadline she just gave me was extremely challenging, I just choked it down, like I always do with her, and agreed we would find a way. And do you know why you did that, Cleo? Asked Gabriel. Cleo mused. Well, I didn't want to be too difficult, and then she would get angry with me, and maybe I would be in jeopardy of losing my job. Okay, that's perfect, said Gabriel. Now, look at that from the audience. Don't judge it as good or bad, just observe it. Now think back to your school time. Were there also times when you didn't say what you wanted to say? Yes, I can think of several times when that happened. Like the time everyone was talking about the new kid that came from a different country and they were laughing and making fun of him. I didn't think that was nice, but I didn't say anything. Again, that's perfect. Now again, look at that from the audience. No judgment. Why didn't you say anything? Asked Gabriel. Well, I guess it was more important for me to fit in with the crowd. If I had said something about how mean I thought they were being, then they would have made fun of me too. That's very insightful, said Gabriel. Let's keep going. Now think back to when you and your brother were young. Did that also happen when you were with your parents and your brother? Yes, it happened a lot, said Cleo. Okay, tell me about one of those times, said Gabriel. Well, I remember one time when we were all talking about my brother and me going to camp. I didn't really want to go because it was something I had never done before and I was scared of what might happen. My mom and dad said I was just being silly. Nothing bad would happen, they said. Then my brother said I was being so stupid. How could anyone be scared of going to camp? Then he called me a scaredy cat and said I was so lame. Cleo felt her gut clench, and she had to catch her breath for a minute. Bacchus could feel Cleo's emotions very strongly. Even though this would be a difficult lesson for her, she was feeling the emotion of the scene she remembered, and that was very brave of her. He silently sent her love and support. Cleo, I am so proud of you, said Gabriel. Remember that you're just in the audience, though. You can look at that time now as a witness instead of a participant, and you can acknowledge what happened. And you can see how that shaped who you became through the years. You see, when you feel emotions that you don't want to feel, sometimes you ignore them or forget them. They stay in your body, but your body and your soul want to release them. So it will send you triggers through your life to remind you of that feeling, so that when you are ready, you can see them from a different perspective. Then you can choose to release them forever when the time is right for you. And I think the time is right for you to release those old emotions once and for all. To do that, you will also be acknowledging your own self-worth, and that is powerful. Would you like to release those old emotions now? Asked Gabriel. Yes, I really would, said Cleo. Gabriel and Bacchus guided Cleo using the release method that she learned from Daniel. She acknowledged all the times when she was unable to speak what was on her mind. She looked at them without judgment, and she thanked them for helping her become who she is today. They also added releasing judgment of the others that were involved in the situations over the years. They were only doing the best they could at the time, and more importantly, they were Cleo's mirror. And seeing them in that way, she was able to ease the emotions she had towards them, as well as herself. After the meditation, she felt tremendously better, like a weight she had been dragging around for what seemed her whole life was finally lifted and removed. It was very freeing, and she felt lighter, even if she didn't understand exactly what that feeling was. Gabriel was so proud of what Cleo had just done. Cleo, you took a really big step just now, and I'm honored and thankful that you felt safe enough with me and Bacchus to work through that. Remember, you may have to do that several times before you release all of those old emotions, but know that you have seen more of your power in doing that. You are a stronger person for it. Use that when you're faced with a situation where you need to speak your truth. Know that you have the power to say what you need to, while still being respectful of others. You are learning to speak with integrity. And when you speak with integrity, you don't have to worry about what other people think of you, because you will know that you are following your heart. And if someone else doesn't appreciate that in you, stand in your power of your convictions. You can't change others, nor should you try. They are on a journey as well, and maybe they are learning a lesson from you. Draw on your masculine energy to stand your ground and speak with courage. Draw on your feminine energy to be compassionate to others that may not agree with you. And then you can remain balanced and true to yourself. And that is something that no one can take away from you. Thank you, Gabriel. I think that is the most important lesson I have learned yet. Your kindness and wisdom is very much appreciated. You are so welcome, Cleo. That brings me a lot of joy. Remember your power, Cleo. We are all here for you always in every moment. You only need to ask for our help, and we will be there. Then Gabrielle closed her eyes. In a few minutes, the moon became larger and more brilliant. You'll need to see down the path to your next stop, said Gabrielle, and I need to return to the earth. Love and blessings to you both, and enjoy your adventure, Cleo. Gabrielle turned and jumped back into her mound. A little tuft of air and dirt rose as she descended back to her home. And then Cleo and Bacchus heard a faint whistle, and they both chuckled. Thank you for joining me. Have a fabulous day.